Hey everyone, welcome to this video. In this video, what we will do, in one of our previous video, we have taken the three-tier application where we have the front end and back end. We had a proxy and we deployed to Azure App Service using the Docker Compose. In this video, we'll take that same application and we'll do the complete end-to-end automation with the help of GitHub Action. So previously, if you remember in that particular video, I have manually published the images to the Docker Hub as well as I manually copied the Docker Compose file and went to portal and just override the existing file. That we don't have to do anything. Now what we will do, we will take those three applications, we'll push it to GitHub, and with the help of GitHub Action, what GitHub Action will do, it will run some workflow and we are going to build all these three images on the GitHub Action. And what we will do, we'll publish it to GitHub Container Registry. Once the images are published to that GitHub Container Registry, what we are going to do, we'll simply go and run one simple Azure CLI command. And we are going to go ahead and take all of the image reference and update it in our Docker Compose file, and we'll ask Azure App Service to pull those latest images. And once we do this, our application is automatically deployed using the GitHub action. What we have, if you can see, we have the existing API project, and that API project has its corresponding Docker file. Similarly, we have the proxy. I already explained everything in the last video. I'll put the link in the description. And then we have the React application, and we have the same Docker Compose file as well. I have not modified anything. Everything is exactly same. I just changed the image path because previously we were automatically pushing these images to the Docker registry. In this video, what we will do, instead of using Docker registry, we will use the inbuilt registry which is provided by the GitHub called GitHub Artifacts. And we are going to push all of our images over there. So it is very convenient to keep everything at the same place. Before I come to the workflow file and explain like how we are building and pushing these images, what I have done already is I went ahead and created this simple app service plan. We don't have to do anything. It is just like when you create the new app service, and make sure once you select this container and you keep it Linux, and you just select your whatever the region you want to deploy. And when you go to the container tab, you just make sure you're selecting Docker Hub or other registry as an image source and option as a Docker Compose. And currently we don't have to do anything, and our images are gonna be public, so we don't need any credential as well, which needs to be configured in the app service. So once you do this, you just deploy your app service. I already did. We need two things once you deploy the app service. One is the app service name and another one is the resource group, because these two things which we need, and we will update it in our workflow file. Now let's go ahead and understand the GitHub action workflow. So if you see my existing video, I have explained all of this step, what we are doing in the GitHub action. We have simply name and we have couple of environment variables. As I said, whenever we create an app service, we need to provide that app service name over here along with the resource group. And this is a simple push trigger where we are saying if the main branch is updated along with this, if we have any of the changes in this particular folder or in this particular YAML file, you run this workflow. And here the permission, last time, if you remember, we only have the content read and ID token. ID token is the one where we will talk to Azure. And now along with these two permission, we need to give the package permission as well. When we give the packages permission, what GitHub will do, it will allow this particular workflow to write it to the GitHub packages. Now coming to the jobs, we have simple one job, build and deploy, and this particular job will build all of our three Docker images, and it will push to the GitHub registry. And again, we have the Azure CLI command. Coming to the environment, this is really important. If you see in my last video, I have already explained like how we can connect the GitHub action to the Azure, and that configuration already I have explained in that last video. What I will do, I'll take the clip of that video and put the link in the description below. So you can just go ahead and watch it if you don't know how to configure the GitHub action in Azure. And this environment is really important because it is where we have the subscription key, the application ID, and the tenant ID. Now, these are pretty simple. We're just checking out all the content of the repo into that particular VM wherever this action will run. There are certain pre-built actions which are provided by Docker, and we are using them. So this will just set up the Docker and make sure we have everything to build and push this Docker images. And here we are logging into the GitHub container registry. As I explained, we are not using the Docker registry. You can use a Docker registry if you want, and you can just look for that step. But in this case, I'm just logging into the GitHub container registry. And because this workflow is also going to run on the GitHub, we don't have to set up any credential. We can just use the GitHub actor and GitHub token, and GitHub will automatically grant the token to push the images into this particular registry. Okay, and these are some, because we wanted the repo name, we're just taking the lowercase of the repo name. And what this action will do, this will build and push our images. So again, this is the pre-built action which is provided by Docker. We are just using that in this particular workflow. And we have to pass a couple of parameters. One is that push is true. So this action build the image, we are asking it to push it to that particular respective registry as well. Along with that, we are providing two tags. So one is simple, you have this ghcr.io, and this repo is gonna be your username, your personal account or your organization account, and this is gonna be the name of the image. And one tag is the latest, because wherever we are pushing, we are just replacing the latest tag. And another tag, what we are doing, every time this workflow run, right? So what it does, it takes the latest commit of that particular repository. Whenever you trigger the build or any GitHub action, it has to check out a respective commit, which is going to be the latest commit in that particular branch. What it does, it will take SHA of that particular commit and just tag it with that as well. So every time we build, we have those respective tags as well along with the latest tag. Okay, and here we are just providing the context. This is where our Docker file is, and this is where we are providing that Docker file. And this is going to push our proxy. So here, if you see, we have the total 3 container images. One is the proxy. Another, we are going to push that front-end React application. And the third one is going to be the API image. Once we push all this image to the GitHub container registry, the next step, what we are going to do, we are going to log into Azure. Okay, this is simple. As I told you, I'm already going to put down the video in the description, so you can just go and watch and just see like how we configured in the last video. And here we are doing one important thing. So if you see, whenever we go to a Docker Compose, in the images part, we are always pulling the latest. We can keep that, but as a best practice, what we are doing, we will tag our images with a specific build whenever we are running that. So for example, if you want to go ahead and redeploy your previous build because of some issue or something, and if you keep the tag as latest, it's just going to pull the latest image. So we don't want to do that. What we will do, we'll tag it with that specific GitHub commit where our builds are running. Okay, and the way we are going to do that is, if you come here, we'll just replace that latest with that particular GitHub SHA. Okay, and this will take that GitHub commit and it will replace, the latest will be replaced with that particular SHA. Okay, and this is a simple PowerShell script to do that. In the next step, what we are doing, we have a simple CLI script, and we are running one command and just setting this new updated Docker Compose file to our app service. And what we have to do, this is the command, easy web app config container set. We are providing the resource group name. We are providing the name of our app service. These two values are getting pulled from our environments, which we set in the top of the workflow. And then we're just saying the multi container config type is going to be the compose when it comes to this web app. And then we are just gonna give that compose file which we have replaced the tag, and that's it. Now what we will do, we will push these changes, and what as a part of, to make sure like our new changes are reflecting, what we will do, we simply go to our React and we'll just put something into in the title so that we'll know like this new build is deployed. Okay, I'll come here, I'll just say to-do list from Docker Compose. Okay, and then we are going to save, and we are going to just push this particular file. Add new title. Okay, and we'll just push this particular change to our respective branch. As soon as the changes are pushed, if we go to our GitHub action and you select the workflow which we have, what it will do, it automatically triggered a new build. And if we go here, we'll see that it is running that particular stage or job which we configure, and it is going to log into GitHub container registry. It's going to build all of our three images, and it's going to push those three images to GitHub registry. And then once it is done pushing the images, it will just run that Azure CLI command to update our Docker Compose file in our app service. As you can see, the job is now completed, and now we will check whether it pushed our images to the GitHub registry or not. So the way we can do, in our repository, you just go to the code section, and here there will be something called packages. When you click on the packages, what it will do, as you can see, we kind of had these three images. One is Nginx proxy, and Express to do backend, and React frontend. And if I go ahead and open this Nginx proxy, you can see like 2 minutes ago it pushed a new version of that particular image. It has both latest tag as well as this 695 EC. And now what we will do, if you go ahead and refresh our app service, and if you go into the deployment, we will see this particular tag. The tag in the compose configuration should be matching. So I'll go to the deployment center. And if you see in the compose file, you see this 695 EC, and this is what the latest image tag, which is starting from 695 EC. By this, we know like we have pushed the latest Docker compose file to our app service. Now let's go ahead and just run this app service, and you see we made that change to do this from Docker compose, and that particular change is automatically pushed. This is what I have for today. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.